Masechta Zevachim, Daf Samach Zayin, Amud Aleph. We're starting from Samach Vav Amud Beis, from the Mishnah, in the middle of the Amud, closer to the bottom. But Kula, it says all the chatois and the oilis of a oif, of a bird, that was done in chatas and the oilis oif. It means the of a oif, the chatas and the oilis. But Kula, if the chatas and oilis. They do not become tummy by swallowing it. I told you yesterday the difference between a behema and a oif is like this. A behema, if it gets killed, it's a nevela. A nevela, by a behema, you touch it, you become tummy. By a oif, if a car tramples over this chicken or this bird, you pick up the bird, you're not tummy. You can pick it up, take it home, but the moment you start swallowing it,
no, I don't take it home. I just
that's
swallow it off the road.
That's
okay.
It's an avail.
It's an avail, right? Oh, but you become tummy only by beis abliya, when you swallow it. By behemoth, that's an avail when you touch it. If it was slaughtered, right, and then it was trampled, that's not a problem. It's not an avail. It's already there. It was done shchita. It's mutter. It's a kosher. Animal shchita. Now melika by a oiv, if it was done already, then it doesn't become tummy beis abliya. That's what he's saying. Ain't tummy beis abliya. Umaylim bahem. But if you did changes from the proper way of bringing the oilas oiv, then there's a dim me'ila. You're not allowed to have a no, even though by a chatas, all of it goes to the kohen. It's not, none of it goes to the mizbeach. So if he did malika, it shouldn't be me'ila. You're allowed to have a no. So we say he's still not allowed to have a no, because why? Because there was a change, and because there was a change, it became possible for to eat it. So once it's possible to eat it, so you can't have a no from it anymore. It belongs still to kachim, because nobody's allowed to eat it. Says the Gemara. So there's a Mishnah, Meilam Bahem. There's a din meila. So says the Mishnah further. Chutz mechatz oiv shasol lamata kemasa chatas l'shem chatas. Except if the chatas oiv, you designated it. No, it's supposed to be on the bottom. He placed it in the right place. He did the right. He did it for the sake of a chatas. He did all the actions like he's supposed to. Then there's no demeila because it goes to the kohen, because it's a regular oilas chatas. I mean, oiv chatas oiv. I mean, oilas oiv shasol lamata, oila, which is a oiv which you place the blood on the bottom, right? Yeah. Which is the wrong place. But he did it kemaisa chatas, because chatas is done beneath the red line, and he also did it lishem chatas for the sake of a chatas. He says it has a din like oila, but he mishabbed the oila. He didn't do it right. He didn't do the procedure right. Nevertheless, there is a din meila. Rabbi Yeshua, no, Rabbi Yeshua says there's no din meila. As a din like a real chatas, and a real chatas goes to the kahanim. There's no isa no if the procedure was done completely right.
Okay. So what does it have a din? Has din of a
chatas?
It was supposed to be an oil.
What?
It was supposed to be an oil. You said.
Right. But it's we're going to talk about. He says it was transformed to a chatas. We're going to go into the nitty gritty of this. Rabbi Elazar had said, there's no din meila when he was making it lishma for the sake of a chatas, right? Kishashina shma. But nevertheless, if you changed it and you did it shaloi lishma, and by mailimba,
what did he do?
He did it for oila. Yeah. And the only two kavanas, if you had the wrong kavana, it becomes possible. Which one is that? Chatas and psachim, right? This one was a chatas oila, and he had it in mind for the sake of an oila instead of being a chatas. So it became pasul. Mailimba. There's a din meila. Oila. So you started off with no din meila. You started off doing the karb mess for the sake of a chatas. If you're doing it for the sake of a chatas, there's no din meila because it goes to the kahanim. But you had a mind for oila, so you passled it. So now it became a din meila, right? Now you're not allowed to have it. It belongs to Kachi, it belongs to Hagdish. Oila shemaylim ba lishma. Oila. that it starts off with a din me'ila to begin with. You're not allowed to have enough because it's always kodesh. It's kol Hashem. It doesn't go to anybody. It goes only to the mizbeach. Kishashina shma, when you change the name l'shem chatas and it didn't shem alaba, for sure that you have a din me'ila. The psul, just like the psul, by the chatas, once it got a psul, it made it into a din me'ila. So even though to begin with it started off with a non-din me'ila, a chatas, there's no din me'ila. But once you created a psul in it, you had a mind.
You made it as
As a oila, you created a psul. So the psul makes it into a isa me'ila. So by oila, which starts off with a psul, with a din me'ila, if there was a psul in it, for sure to have a din me'ila. Rabbi Yeshua says, what are you talking about? Loi. He says, chatos. The reason why it became Aser, the din Isa Meila, because he transformed it into Oila. And the Oila has a din Meila. Toima ba'Oila sheshina shma l'shem chatas. Say, but a Oila that was transformed into a chatas, shekein shina shma l'davar, it changed from a Oila to a chatas. Shein by Mila, it was changed to a case of that there's no din Mila.
No, so you want to say it should be din?
There shouldn't be. He says the reason why by the chatas when he made it had a mind for oila.
So he said it takes an oila and he has a mind for a chatas.
He starts off. He takes a chatas and he has a mind for oila. He transformed it to oila. That's why he has a dimeila.
Okay, and if you start
But you start with oila which has a dimeila and you transform it to chatas. It shouldn't have a dimeila. That's what he's telling him. Yes. I'm like, what are you talking about? We know kache kachim. You have to slaughter it in the southern side. Right. He went ahead and he slaughtered it on the south side. Southern is the north. He went ahead and slaughtered it in the south. And he had a mind for what kind of a carbon? For shlamim. So Yechicha, that will prove. He changed it from kachim to a shlamim, right? So, and we say, even though he changed it to a shlamim, and a shlamim is eaten by the owners, right. There's no din meila, we still say it has a din meila. Shekei shina shmam. He changed it from kachim lidavar shein by meila to something that there's no din meila, because by shlamim the meat is eaten by the owners. The only thing that's not and has a din of meila is the fats that has to be burned on the mizbech. All the rest of the meat is mutter. So he changed kachim. He slaughtered it where instead of in the kachim place in the north, he slaughtered in the south. L'shein shlamim for kachim kalim, and nevertheless we say it still has a din moilim b'han. There's a din meila. Even though it shouldn't be. He transformed it. He changed it to a shlamim. Even though he took it from kachim to kachim kalim to a shlamim. Yeah. Where there's no dimmeila, we say no, the dimmeila still stays. Why? That's the dim. That's the halacha. So he says, if that's the halacha, what are you telling me? Your answer me, Rabbi Lazar is saying. I'm sorry, Rabbi Yeshua is saying he changed it, so therefore no dimmeila. He changed it to a case of non-meila, non-dimmeila. He changed it to chatas. Yeah. He says it's not true. Look, you take kachim, you changed it to shlamim. Still
the birds are different. The birds are different.
Oh, yeah, he's jumping. 1 second. You're right. But we're going to get to it. So the Tanakama, the Rabbi Lezer is telling Rabbi Yeshua, just like when he changed it to shlamim, the din meila stays. Don't wonder, but when he took the eila and he changed it to chatas, to something that doesn't have the din meila, still has the din meila. We don't lose the din meila, it remains. Rabbi Yeshua says, "Loi, that's not a proof." He says you're right. He took kachim where it's full demila. It's all kachim is all goes all to Hashem. He changed it to a shlamim, but a shlamim is not all only to the bailin. It's not. Part of it is kachim. There is demila. The fats has to be burnt on the mizbeach. So you transformed it or changed it into something that is. Some of it is not meila, and some of it is. There is some ismaila in it. By a chatas ha'oif, nothing remains on the mizbeach. The whole whatever has to be removed, the noitza, the crop, you remember the crop that goes to the Beis Hadeshen. Nothing goes on the mizbeach. Everything goes to the bailim. So that's not the same case. Like you just said, oif is different. Why is it different? Because oif, there's nothing of it that remains on the mizbeach that we should say part of it has a din of ismila. There's no part of it that has a ismila. By a shlamim, there is a part that has a dimila. So it's different. So we learned in the Braisa, we're going to say more details about this conversation between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Elazar said to Rabbi Yeshua, Asham sheshachata b'tzaltim, Asham that he slaughtered in the north, l'shem shlamim, for the sake of a shlamim. Now Asham has a din like kachim, where there's a dimila, and he said it's for the sake of a shlamim, that shekain shina shmai, he did change the name to shlamim umaylam, and nevertheless we say there's a dimila. The afata al tisma ala. So the same thing. He's asking him again. Don't wonder why by the oila if he changes l'shem chatas shapa pisha shinashma to a chatas which doesn't have a dimila, shemi alabo still has the dimila. Amalei Rabbi Yeshua loi. If you say by asham sha'af im shinashmai, even though he changed it to a shlamim, lo shinas mekaymai, he didn't change the place. He's shachted b'tzafin, yeah.
And by
Taima ba'ela. What? Look, by the oila when he changed l'shem chatas, where did he take and do the malika? On the bottom of the chotasikra.
you mean this,
The blood. It says, yeah. Here, look what he says. Taima ba'ela, that the malika he did like a ma'isa chatas. Sheshina number one, he changed the name. The gam shinas mekaymai. He changed the place because he did it lemata
one has
mechotasikra.
hazor and one doesn't have hazor, and one has
We're not going into that right now. Right now, we're just showing you he did these two things so you can compare. By the Asham, why does the Din Me'ila stay on the Shlamim when he did it for the sake of Shlamim? Because there was only one change. But when he did for Ayla, he did the Shem Chatas, he did two changes.
The designation and the spot.
Okay, so we're going to... So Abelaz is going to tell him that's not exact. You make a mistake.
The two changes were the designation and where he shechted it.
Where he shachted it. And the other one,
Just the
just designated he had in mind, L'Shem Chatam. L'Shem Shlamim. From Asham to Shlamim. Amalei Rabbi Elazar, Asham said back, Asham sheshchatam b'darim, L'Shem Shlamim Yechiach, Sheshina Shmai, V'gam Shina Shmai. He did. He slaughtered it elsewhere. He slaughtered it in the south, not in Suffolk.
As a shlomo, you can do
It's Kachim Kalim. Nevertheless, we say that the din of Me'ila remains on the Shlamim. So, Afato al Tisma al don't wonder about the Eila. Even though he had a Shem Chatas, and he did the Malika under the Chutasikra, like a Chatas, nevertheless, the din meila has to remain. Amalei Rabbi Yeshua, what are you talking about? Loi, there's even more. It's different. By the Asham, when he had a mind for the Shlamim, there were only two changes. He changed the name and he changed the place. He slaughtered it in Durham instead of in the south, instead of Tzaf in the north. But the actions, you don't see any action that was changed. By the Oila, he did mamish like a chatas, sheshinishma. Number one, he said the Oila is a chatas. Vas masa. What's the action that he did? That he cut. You remember what's the difference? How many simanim do you cut by a chatas? One. And by Oila it's two. So he instead of
one and the meat.
And the meat. One and the meat. Yes, you're right. Very good. It's good to remember that and say it. That's the best way to do it, to remember it. So he says, what did he do? He cut one.
But the other one's two and the meat. I guess
Yes,
the meat,
two,
because
and then he
one-
comes back to the meat.
he
Yes.
goes back to the meat.
Right.
Okay.
He does part of it, but not very little. Later on, he does more. But that's not me'akiv. Me'akiv is by the chatas. You have to cut the meat. So he cut one fully. Yeah. So by the chatas, what did he do? But he only cut, even though it was oila, he only cut one siman. So in actions, he changed also. He did it like a chatas. Oila would have been two simanim. And Sheshinas Vesmasa, and also the action that he was Melech only one, Veshinas Mekaima. And where did he do it? on the bottom of the red line, and the oil is supposed to be above the red line. Amar Rabba,
So it's 3-2.
it's 3-2. So Rabba says, look, Rabbi Lezer kept quiet, he didn't answer nothing. Why is he not slugging up Rabbi Yeshua anymore? Amar Rabba.
Who didn't answer?
This is what Rabbi Yeshua says. It's different. Oila does get transformed to a chatas, and Rabbi Lezer doesn't try to slug it up. So why is Rabbi Lezer quiet? L'chayra, Rabbi says, "V'nei malei." Rabbi says Rabbi Lezer could have slugged it up weiter. What could he have said? Asham sheshchata b'darim l'shem shlamim b'shinui b'olim. Asham that was slaughtered instead of the north, it was in the south. He had in mind l'shleim shlamim. So you have the makim was changed, the name was changed, and now b'shinui b'olim. B'shinui b'olim. He didn't do l'shem the original owners. He had in mind. Now he changed his mind. This is for the sake of this guy. L'chatchila was for the sake of Ruvain. Now it's for the sake of
So he didn't
Shimon.
change the carbon.
So the Gemara says b'feidish, shinui habaylim is kishinui hamaisa. If you change the owners, it's like an action. It's like changing the action.
Has to be the Shema, no?
Huh? It has to be l'shma for the sake of the original owners. You can't go ahead and start changing. You change it for a new owner. That's shinui maisa. So you have really all three, just like the oil and the chatas.
Same like a star? You change
A star is different. Here we're talking about a behemoth.
Yeah, I'm saying the clause. A star has to be the
The
Shema.
Shema, yeah. You mean a get? It has to be
A
written
get,
as Shema. Yeah. I don't know if you compare the two, but it's fine. It's good. You could.
There says the Shema.
It says Lishma. Here it doesn't. Here's not a word Lishma, but you're right. It has to be for the sake of the original owner.
And if you change, it's no
good. That's Shina Amaisa, yeah. So you have all three. So it's 3 and 3, just like by the Oila there was 3. Here you have 3.
But not all the same threes, no?
Doesn't have to be the same. Shina Shmai, Shina Mekayim, Shina Masov. So, but Rabbi Lezer didn't ask that question. So from this that Rabbi Lezer, it's such an obvious question, and Rabbi Lezer didn't ask it. Shmami no, Rabbi Lezer tamed Rabbi Yeshua. It seems like Rabbi Lezer agreed with Rabbi Yeshua that a oila does transform into chatas, and it's different than a asham transforming into a shlamim. And we're going to explain later on. You're going to see more details.
And what's the din? And still is moil and boy.
There by asham, if he transforms into a shlamim, he'll still have a din meila. But a oila for chatas won't have a din meila. And the Gemara will explain, and you'll see from the second teretz the deep svara behind it. Rabbi Yeshua would say, oila that he did beneath the red line, like the action of a chatas, and then he did also l'shem chatas, for the sake of a chatas, even though he designated as a oila at the beginning. Since he only, and here's the action, because how many simanim do you have to cut by oila? 2, and how many did he cut over here? 1. Mm-hmm. So everything was identical to a chatas. Nimsheches, so it goes out from the shem oila, then nasas chatzayif, and becomes a complete chatas.
Because you don't see anything that's
Everything was done like a chatas, and now we're going to.
So we see the pile. When you look at this animal, this bird, it's like a
chatas completely. Everything. That's the only thing he designated chatchila as oila. And now we have to understand what's the difference.
Well, nicer compared to his machshavas.
Okay. Why by Asham when he did it to Shlamim? Why is that different? And we're going to go through it now. In fact, now the Gemara is going to ask the reverse. You said about chatas, oila becoming transformed to a chatas. That's what we spoke about. We spoke about oila being transformed to a chatas. Correct? Now we're going to learn a chatas being transformed to oila. Should have the same din that the chatas transformed to oila. Let it become a oila.
Everything is similar to an
similar. Look. If you started off with a chatas, you said this oif is a chatas now. Nami, we should say shasot lamayla kemaisa. What did he do? He brought the blood above the red line. That's oila. Michimalik ba, and from the time that he did the malika, simin echad timashach, so it should be removed from shem chatas with the heavy oila saif, and it should become oila saif. So it was all transformed. Say the same transformation the other way. That if he started off as a chatas and then he made it Ayla, it should become Ayla.
He made an Ayla, or he did whatever it took to do an Ayla.
He
So
did
said,
all
might
the
as well.
actions of Ayla, so it should become transformed to Ayla, just like you said, when he started off as a Ayla and then he did all the actions of a chatas.
Right.
And he said l'shem chatas, it transformed to a chatas. Say the reverse too. If he started off with a chatas and he did all the actions of Ayla, let it become Ayla.
Right, if he said it right.
If you're going to say it's maybe it's so. Says you want it's not true. So is the order of the Mishnah. My love. He says this is the halacha, the order of the Mishnah. That it means only this case, only the case of the way he started, which was a chatas as ayla, and then he transformed it into a chatas. But you can't add another case. My love, that's so. He meant only that case could be transformed. Vesuloy, not more, not the case of a oila becoming of a chatas becoming to transform to oila. So he's going to learn. That's not true. Kach hatzah shakula mishnah. He means the hatzah doesn't mean only that. That's the seder of the Mishnah. Only did. That's where it stopped. He meant the whole Mishnah. This is the seder of the whole Mishnah. Meaning both cases, not just if it started off as a chatas and he did it for the sake of Ayla, even the reverse, that's part of the Mishnah, it's part of the Seder. If it was a Ayla and he transformed it for a chatas. Yes, it could be both. Just like they argue that, and just like he argued when it was a chatas and that it becomes transformed to Eilas Oif. Rabbi Yeshua argued. We could say he argued. Rabbi Yeshua argued those in the case which starts off as a chatas, and he did everything like Eilah. Ravashi says like this: Bishlam Eilas Oif
Starts off only in his mind.
Right, and then everything is
Right,
all the actions are like the second one. Correct. Either way. So Ravashi says differently. Ravashi says only the first case. Bishlema Eilas Oif, that he transformed it into chatas. Shasol lamata k'maisa chatas. L'shem chatas. He did it under the chut hasikra. That's the maisa chatas. He did it also l'shem chatas. Kivan the ha hechsheira b'simen echad. Since it becomes mursha with one simen, v'ha hechsheira b'shnei simanim, and but the Eilah becomes mursha with two simanim. So he's trying to say it never became possible as a chatas. He said, I'm making it as a Eilah, right? Yeah. He wants to say, I'm making it as a Eilah, and then he did all the actions of a chatas. So the Eilah never became a Eilah to say it became possible.
Right.
When does it become a Eilah? When he cuts both simanim. But when he cut one siman, it was a chatas, right? So if it became it was a chatas, and it never became a apostle as a Eilah. So that it could become transformed to a chatas. But the other way, it was
it became possible for one thing. So.
Because he never did the two simonim.
He never did the two simonim.
Otherwise, that would be an oil.
So when he did here, the whole chatas was complete, right? The whole chatas was complete.
The whole oif was a chatas.
The whole oif was a chatas before it even had before the name Oila could rest on it, because the name Oila rests on it only by Oilas Ha'ev Lamata Leisa. Oh, 1 minute. Oilas Ha'ev Lamata Leisa, and also the Malika by Oila is not done Lamata, right? Under the Chut HaSikah, because the Malika by Oila is dafka above the Chut HaSikah, above the red line. And keeping the Malik Ba Simen Echad, since from the time that he made a Malika on one siman, from the time that he cut one siman l'shem chatas, so the Malika of the chatas was already chal on this oif. The name chatas was already chal on the oif once he cut one siman.
So we don't care what the machshava was,
Right,
right?
nimshachas. So that took it out from the moment that he did it under the chut hasikra. So it never had a chance even to say there was a cinch of oila there. It was all chatas.
If he starts with an oila and he
Oh, 1 minute. So chatas, it was always chatas. He started from the lower, under the red line. Only above, because if it's oila, it has to be above the red line. So oila never had any grasp on it in any way. It was under the red line, one simin. Everything was chal as a chatas. Okay, now, el chatas ha'oiv. What's if you start off with a chatas ha'oiv, that he did it l'mayla, he did the malika l'mayla, kimada mama, malika b'chol makom sheda. So you can't, but malika is in every place kosher. So you can't say it was exclusive to Ayla. When he did it l'mayla, the malika, by a chatas doesn't have to be anywhere. It could be It could be on top of the chotasik also, the malika. So
well,
when
the chila is supposed to be in the bottom, right?
on the bottom, but he could do it on the top also. It could be b'chol makom.
So
So it wasn't exclusively for Oila. So far you don't have Oila, exclusive Oila. Like by the Chatas, like by the Oila, the Chatas was under the Chotasika, that already made it exclusively to Chatas. The moment that he went under the Chotasika, because Oila can only be L'mayla Chotasika. By Chatas, it can be anywhere. So never, by just putting it above the red line, didn't give it exclusivity to the oila. It's still chatas. Okay? And now, okay, we said that. The moment he cut one simin, even though he's going to cut both, but the moment he cut one, the chatas was chal already, because the malika, no problem. It can be even above. This one simin is still a chatas. So, now, afterwards, he goes and he cuts the second siman. How could you now transform it into oila? It already had chatas was chal on it. When he cuts the second siman as a oila, it doesn't transform into oila, because the name chatas was already chal. From the moment he cut the first siman, and doing the malika above the red line didn't give exclusivity to the oila. So it's all chatas. The name chatas was chal already. When he hit one siman. Therefore, it's the name chatas, and now you want to take from chatas to oila, that we can't. It has already a name chatas. And it became possible as a chatas when he cuts the second one.
Oila, you're not saying the same thing?
No, by the oila, what happened?
Oh, simply someone extra.
Why does it not have the shame oila?
Then he went and he cut the second siman. So how could you now transform it into oila? It was already a chatas, but by the chatas into oila, right? By the oila into chatas, it never had the name oila. First of all, he did it beneath the red line.
So it wasn't kosher for that.
So
Okay,
it's
he did everything for the chatas.
so it's chatas. It was exclusively chatas. Then he cut one siman. It's all chatas. L'shem chatas. Here, the moment he did the malika, it never made it above the red line. It didn't give it exclusiveness to the oila. It was still chatas. Then he cut one siman. It's chatas. Then he cut a second siman. He took it from a chatas and he made a psulan chatas. But you don't say it transformed to oila. Go from him for your land. Said, Yeshua would say, that he did it under the red line, like a chatas, l'shem chatas. He did the action of a chatas, for the sake of a chatas. Since he did a malika, cut one siman, nimshaches, it goes out of the name of oil saif, and now sees chat saif, becomes a chat saif. Toshma. Comes the Gemara and asks a question. Here in Kinim, there's a din that a woman that gives birth has to bring two karbanis. It has to bring one oila and a chatas. Really, it's supposed to be a lamb for oila and a pigeon, a turtle dove for a chatas. But if a person cannot afford it, then it's two birds. Okay, here we're talking about somebody. Oh, now we're going to get to it in a second. So she has to bring two birds, one for a ilah, one for a chatas. So there were two women. There was Rachel and Leah. Rachel already brought a chatas, she needs a oila. Leah brought already a oila, she needs a chatas. So now we have to compensate for these two, for Rachel and Leah. So what happens now? So they gave money.
They don't do it back to back?
They gave money together to buy a set. 2 birds. Comes as a set.
2 chatas
A sukkah. No, they only
people
they
can join
already
together,
each
too?
one each one had already. Rachel already brought a chatas. She only
Right.
needs a oila.
Right.
Leah brought a oila. She only needs a chatas.
But I'm saying you don't bring the chatas and the
The
oil
bird
together
is the
at the
same,
same time then.
huh? No, it's you have to designate it for what it is.
Okay.
They bought 2 birds together, having in mind, I'll make up for my Rachel for my oila that I didn't bring, and Leah says I'll make up for the chatas I didn't bring. And they gave the money to the kohen.
So it's like making a kiddush for the girl. You can do it at any time. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it a certain time with the chatas and the oil together after like 8 days. So you could do it.
No, it was the same day. They went out and they had to. They
Okay.
didn't have. They got money together again later in the day, and now they're bringing it.
Well, they went shopping together.
Yeah, us shteim lamayla. If they did, if this kohen didn't realize what he did, he mixed up the money, and a chatas goes under the line, and the oil goes on top. What did this kohen do? He thought they both need the oil, so he brought it both above the line. So he says, "Machzeh kosher, machzeh pasul." Half is kosher, half is pasul, because one was designated for oila. That one will be kosher because it went l'mayla mechut hasika. But the chatas we got to throw away because he put the blood above the red
Is he
line.
responsible to pay the
Shina
money?
mekayna. Oh, so they'll split it.
No,
The
he
kohen,
said- but he said a
the
chatas
kohen has to
can-
give
he
back
said
the
a
money.
chatas can go anywhere, right?
The kohen does have to
No,
give it to him if he makes that
melika
mistake?
could be anywhere,
Yeah.
but not the blood. The spraying of the blood has to be above the red line.
The kohen
What?
has to give back him money if he makes a mistake like that?
Well, maybe if he made the mistake, probably.
But chatas
We're
is
not
a
talking
hazor?
about that now. I'm not sure.
But
What?
chatas is a hazor, or by the oil is
Chatas is azal.
and the oil is not.
There's no azal. Is mitzah. There's malika mitzah. Okay, mechza kosher, mechza pasul. We said shteim lamata. What's if he did it both on the bottom? So the woman that Leah who needs the oila doesn't have an oila because both of them were below and the oila is supposed to be above. So mechza kosher, mechza pasul. Half is kosher, half is pasul. Achas lamata, achas lamata. What's if he took one bird without knowing which one is for whom? And he had to know which one is for whom.
Right,
One up, one down. Shteim psuls, they're both pasul. Because Shani Ema, Chatas, Karva Lamaila. Maybe the one that was supposed to be for Chatas, he threw it to the wrong place.
Can't say yes,
And
right?
no. Ayla, Karva Lamata.
No.
It's a suffix. It's something you got to bring again to both birds. Says, why do you say that? Mehi Nami, the Ayla, Karva Lamata. He says, when you said that the Ayla was Karva Lamata, L'Shem Chatas, right? Say, what's the problem? What's the problem if it's a suffix? So the oila that was supposed to go lamata went lamata. So if it went lamata, let it become a chatas. Because we said a oila could become a chatas. You remember?
Yeah, but chatas can become an oil, right?
Right, but oila could become a chatas.
Okay.
So they should only have to get one bird. Why are you saying you have to change both? He says, Nehi nami the oila cover lamata. Even though oila is, even if the oila was the blood went under the red
You don't
line.
know for who it was. That's why.
Right, but
It's
doesn't
still a
matter.
suffix.
But doesn't matter. Even if it was
Oil is
a
only good for chatas if there's no suffix.
okay, but one of them needed as a chatas.
We don't know which one though.
So,
we don't, did he
but
designate-
One of them,
so but what? But so one he did one lamata,
but
right?
we didn't know which one. We
It should be
established we didn't know
considered
which
as
one.
two lamata. But he's saying it should be considered as two lamata. So one of these chatas is for sure hers, even though they separated for Ayla to do it lamayla, but he did one lamayla, one lamata, right? So the one that he did, the one that he did lamata, even though that could have been the Ayla, should be a chatas, should transform into a chatas. Let it be taken out from a Ayla into a chatas. Says, when could you say such a thing? Only if you're talking about one person. You
we
understand?
had this concept before.
Yes. You can't have two people involved. Here you're saying they had in mind for one person a oila, right? And instead of using it, maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he took the oila and he sprayed a lamata, and it's not, for that person it's no good because now it became a chatas. So we're asking, let this chatas, which was for the wrong person, go for the other person. So we say, hey, that we don't do. You can't jump that far. But today, Gabri, mi ama, by two people, we don't say such a thing. And I think we're going to have to stop here. I can go a little further, but I'm going to have to go over it again. Tashma, come in here and I'll ask you another question. He says like this. It says that Rachel had to bring 2 eilis and a chatos, and Leah had to bring 2 chatos and a oila.
Complicated.
The reverse. 6 birds, 3 chatos,
It was easy when you
and
said
3
1 and 1,
eilis.
and now it's 2
Okay,
and
it's
1.
2 and 1, 2 and 1.
Yeah,
It's
no,
the
it's
opposite.
right.
It's 3 and so it's 6. So they bought Beshutis 3 sets. 2, 4, and 6. 3. The first set
They were sold in
was
sets?
huh?
They were sold in sets?
Yeah. So the first one, let me give you the 3 cases outside, and then we'll be able to finish it right away. First case was he made it clear. The chatas is for Leah, the first set, and the oila is for Rachel. Clear, we know who's who, which one is for what. Second case is stuma. Stuma means we don't know. Whatever you decide, kain for whom, that's perfect. We'll leave it up to you. Then you have meforeshes. It says this bird is a oila, and this bird is a chatas. But we
You
didn't
put a
say.
label on the bird already, right?
But the bird, but we don't know for whom, for which owners. So let's do it now. Chatas, and he says Tashma. Chatas was for Leah, who's chayv 2 chatas. Oila was for Rachel, who's chayv 2 eilas. That's one case. He made it clear who it goes for. Ustuma, stuma means whatever the kohen decides. We don't know what is for whom. Nothing. For that,
We know that each one needed either 2 chatois or
no, 1 and 1. It's 2. So one goes for oila, one goes for chatas.
That was the case.
Yeah, but we didn't say which one to what. Ferashes, and Ferashes means that he explicitly stated this the third set. This one is a oila and this one's a chatas. So also Kulamaila, what's if he took all 6? If the kohen thought all oilas, and he put all the maila, mechza kosher, mechza pasel. Half is kosher and half is pasel. Okay?
Because we needed 2 oilers, right?
We needed 2 oilas. We needed 3 oilas and 3 chatas. 2 chatas, 1 oila, and 2 oilas and 1 chatas.
Oh, each one needed 2 oilers.
One needed 2 oilas, 1 chatas. The other one needed 2 chatas and 1 oila.
So
So
we needed 3 oilers to be on the top.
right.
We put 6.
6, right.
So
Kulan
3
lamata.
are good, right?
Right. Kulan lamata. If you put all of them in the bottom, mechza kosher, mechza pasel. Again. So it's all on the bottom. We have 3 chatos, but we don't have 3 oilas. Chetz lamata, chetz lamata. But what if half was lamaila and half lamata? So now we have a problem.
You put 3 on the top and
No, 3 on the bottom. Enik sheder, we don't know which one. Enik sheder meaning ella stuma. Stuma u'mischalaks v'neim. The stuma part, there was one pair that we don't know who, what, when. That's not a problem. Because we left it up to the kohen. So 2 of them, one is left over to the kohen, 1 goes for each. That's not a problem.
Oh, so which one was the stuma?
Two birds. Each, there was 2. 1 set was clear to who each one belongs to. Second set left it up to the kohen. Third set, we knew exactly which one is for who, not for who, but which one is what. One is oila and one is a chatas. So he says the one that was not clear, was mamish left over to the kohen. That's perfect. He split it. But what about the one that he made clear that this one's for Leah, this one's for Rachel? That's not clear. And the same thing, the one that he said which one is for Elam, which one is for Chatnas, is also not clear. So those remain. That has to be. Those 4 have to be replaced. Okay.